Uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Welcome to Chumacera, grubs. I'm going to show you a gameplay today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes in the game, specifically about Miramar too. I want to talk about Miramar, and I want to talk about one of my favorite things to do in the whole game. How about this? Dropping, finding an 8 and a 6 as soon as you land. Right. Wish that happened more often. Chumacera is where we've dropped. Now, it's a funny one because Chumacera used to be the coldest of drops. No one came here. Back when the game first kicked off, the drops were very, very different to where they are now. And a lot of that's got to do with the fact that PUBG Mobile is, for all intents and purposes, the child of PUBG PC in terms of gameplay. When the game first started, we watched Shroud and Choco Taco, and where did they drop? Well, they drop all kinds of different places. And PC is a bit different than mobile, especially back then. They had no bots for starters. So you always got real people, 100 real people in every lobby, which meant you got some real gunfights in different spots. We had to really wait until the meta developed in mobile, and it's become quite different to PC because drops and everything else are different to PC. This is me using an AKM as a DMR, which is a pretty cool thing to do. Back in the day, school was a hell of a hot drop, and then it became incredibly less popular as people started dropping G-Pol crates, and Millbase was always been popular, and different areas like that. And then it's come all the way back around to where apartments in school are now really hot. This is another thing that never used to happen, but you heard like little clunk, 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 clunk feet on top of the walkways up there. This is, people drop hot and then climb on top of something and just hang there. Chumacera is really a great example of this because people get very, very tired of Picado. You go to Picado nowadays, and San Martin is something very, very similar where you can go to Picado, and because there is no FPP, there is really no real FPP. It's so difficult to get that scope up on that guy. There we go. You get a lot of people camping tall structures. For instance, we're talking about 5-stack in Picado. We're talking about the billboard buildings in San Martin, and they can become very boring and very stagnant. People will go to those kind of places and stay with them all the way through to end of game. I would also like to reference apartments on Erangel. Hello, go to apartments on Erangel, never move. There's still people holding angles there from games I played last month. The whole thing with Chumacera is that there is a lot more of a free-flowing energy to it than there is in Picado or San Martin, and people love that because even the buildings in Chumacera are set down underneath a very, very accessible plateau and cliff face. So if you want to camp those buildings, go for your life, but they're only 2 stacks and no one's going in there after you. You're going to get overlooked. This is a much, much more enjoyable place to drop. And the game meta has changed as well, tremendously so, I've found. The M762 has been widely adopted now for CQC. Oh my God, I forgot about this. You've got to actually enter the car and then go into the passenger seat and then exit. Ripper. Great stuff. And you can still use the M762 to spray. There's no question about that. I just got screwed there by render. That's all that happened. I don't know where that guy was looking. I thought it was fairly obvious that I was over here after emptying an entire clip into him, but you get that on the big jobs. So I love Chumacera as a drop point. That's great. And I love Miramar as a map because you get options like that where you can drop and have engagements and then work around the map itself in open spaces and find gunfights that don't have a whole lot of third-party peeking in them. And that's brilliant. That's exactly what I'm after. And that's why I think Miramar is far and away still the best map in PUBG Mobile. It also, I know it sounds kind of odd, but it's hard for me to understand why this is, but Erangel just seems to have worse loot. I know it's probably not true and it's anecdotal, but hey, hit a like on the video if you think Erangel has worse loot than Miramar, because I hate the loot on Erangel. The thing I don't like about Miramar is when it goes to San Martin or Los Leones, those two places for finishes. They are the worst place for finishes in the game. Possibly in all of the games, even Pachinki and stuff. They don't have. Los Leones is like a town of skyscrapers. You just get so many grubs. And you're rotating in here late, 12 kills, 9 people left alive, and you know there are going to be people camping these areas. There's just, and I just get tired sometimes. And this is, I lose a lot of games to these kind of people who, they just hold a stairwell. And he could have been there all week. I don't know. Maybe that's being unfair to him. But there's always people in these places. You run through one of these late game and you know there's going to be people in these places. And it's just one of those things. I don't understand why it is, but it's certainly, and late rotating into a place like Los Leones is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. So where was I? The Mark 14 is still my weapon of choice, and the M24 is a wonderful sniper rifle, but I still find the Mark 14 in all kinds of hit, in all kinds of boxes. It's still in all kinds of boxes. People are broken. They fall for this same thing every time. Like, I'm going to use an M416 and I'm going to spray. And there was a video I was editing yesterday where a guy pushed me at a crate drop. It was their crate and I was there, and he looted a Mark 14 as a DMR, and he pushed me with an M416. Nice headshot, Bushka. And I stopped the video and froze it because he had a Mark 14 in his box after I'd killed him. And I looked at it and said, you can't be serious. Like, this guy's pushed me using an M4 while he's got a Mark 14 in his crate. I mean, it's horrible play and I win because of it, but it still triggers me pretty freaking hard. So there's always things that I find odd about the way we play PUBG Mobile. There's also things that I just find really odd about the way people are inside the player base. I've been on North America, and it's possible that it's just because there's more people speaking English on North America than I find on Asia. But man, the toxicity, the homophobic, racist grubs are just all over the place. And I mean, ignorance should not be a lifestyle choice. Ignorance should be something that you try and, you know, stop. And the only time I've thought very long and hard about doing a video showcasing all these clowns. I just don't have it in me. One of them is to my left over here. You'll see his name at the end of the game. But generally, I don't show these kind of names. The reason I don't is because they want notoriety. Like, they could be young kids just doing something to shock. And that's something that happens. You know, kids do that. But there's also a lot of people I've heard talking on the plane and who are definitely not young kids, and they're just as stupid and racist and homophobic as anyone else I've ever met who does it to pretend to shock value. And that's not why I'm showing this game, though. I just thought this game was an interesting one because it went through Chumacera into a place that I absolutely hate. And this is the first time I've ever had a final circle finish right here. And you got to remember, I've been playing 19 seasons. I've been playing a long, long time. And I've never had a circle here. Which I thought was kind of interesting. And the other thing that I knew who the guy over here was. I'd seen his name in the kill feed and I'd figured out who was left. And look how seriously I'm taking this one compared to a normal game. This is a problem I have with the way I play. I quite often just won't play hard because I couldn't be bothered playing hard. But the fact of the matter is, I could win a lot more than I do. I just try to win fancy, which is really silly. Whereas in gameplay like this, I'm not trying to win fancy. I just want to win because I don't like that person. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and a little walk down my ideas on PUBG Mobile, meta, and many things in between. Lots of stuff coming down the pike. Don't go anywhere. Look after yourself. Stay safe on the battlefield. Yeah. Maury, maybe think about reading some literature or traveling. That'll probably expand your mind. Until next time, Bye for now.